This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the Antoine Dupont of website builders.
2025. The Red Roses finally won the World Cup, the Crusaders got back their Super Rugby dominating pomp, and Matthew Jalibert did this. But in between the tackles and the trophies, this was a year in which some rugby was played by some people. And in order to celebrate the best of that rugby, it's time for this. The 2025 Squid Rugby Team of the Year. Every day over the next week, we'll build out a few more members of this side, creating a team who've excelled the most over the year that was 2025. This is the 8th annual team, and as ever, the rules haven't changed. This isn't a World 15. It's not a list of the best players on the planet right now. It's a 15 composed of the players who delighted the most over the last calendar year, who made us feel the most, the players who made the game most worth watching, the guys and girls who deserve celebrating. As ever, it's a mixed gender team because it's not purely about ability or anything else. It's about looking at the game and find the folk who made it the most wonderful, brilliant use of your Friday night, your Saturday, your Sunday this year. All rugby counts. If you played a grassroots game in Zimbabwe, you're technically eligible for any of these positions, but we will always give higher weighting to international games and particularly World Cups, as ever. Just because your team were or weren't the best doesn't really affect selection. It's purely about the art of their individual play. We'll also be awarding referee and coach of the year, both of which Razzie Erasmus is up for. However, the thing Mr. Johan Erasmus truly wanted to be recognised for was not his coaching, not his refereeing. It was his website building. For Razzie spent much of this year on Squarespace, the world's easiest to use website builder. In moments, Razzie had built a website, and so he set himself a challenge: a website every month over 2025. And with Squarespace's unique features, he could build them, manage them from the same hub, and easily create a whole network of sites that interlink their custom features on Squarespace, making it so simple to build one out, creating pages, dropping links in, adding content in, then connecting it to another. It's so simple to put together, and if you want to do the same, you can head to the link in the description and use the offer code SquidRugby to save yourself some money on putting together a website with the ease of just selecting a load of massive lads in the front row and smashing them out, as Razzie does. His two favourite things to do is build websites and just pick front rows the size of Gibraltar. It's probably now time to get into the team. So, without further ado, we're going to alternate forwards and backs by day, but we're going to start with the heartbeat of the team, the core, the wonderful control freaks, the best halfbacks of 2025.
It was a lot of tempo and a lot of rugby. I think it's just fun to play rugby.
I'm not sure Rugby's 2025 got better than that night. On the 19th of September 2025, Canada's Justine Pelletier delivered maybe the greatest scrum half performance in the history of the game. Gareth, Yurst, Antoine et al. May have given spectacular displays from the 9 jersey, but I'm not sure anyone has ever played the position scrum half, the core role of getting the ball in and out of the ruck and the scrum whilst keeping the defence on the fringes honest, better than the tiny queen of Quebec that Friday night. There will be fans of men's rugby watching who maybe missed the game, but Canada that evening achieved, and this is a stat, the fastest average ruck speed a team has ever generated in the history of professional rugby union. Men's or women's, it doesn't matter. The fastest any team has ever played. No side has ever played with the pace Canada generated, and Pelletier provided that evening. And over that game, played with a pace that, again, literally no other nine has ever achieved. No other scrum half ever got the ball out of the ruck as quickly as Pelletier was doing all evening. Almost every decision was perfect, as it was all throughout the full length of 2025. This outrageous dummy for the opening try after just a few minutes, perhaps the standout, but there's 2 other assists and countless other moments of keeping New Zealand under pressure as she showed us a genuinely new way of playing the game that yet tied into the oldest way of playing the position, the basics done to a level that almost nobody ever dared dream possible. But this wasn't a one-note, one-game wonder year for Pelletier. All year long, she was a Canuck metronome. Ireland were pretty outspoken before she rocked up, saying that beating them would be a key stepping stone to their World Cup glory. Pelletier was then sensational as he opened it right up, as she was brilliant, scored a critical try. She was key in their draw earlier against the Black Ferns and picked up numerous tries along the way. Her sniping, her keeping the pace up, her keeping Canada ticking was so critical. 8 assists at the World Cup are the headline, but playing with this pace and yet having a higher pass accuracy percentage than any other 9 of the tournament just highlights how good she is. Just like another French-speaking scrum half in years gone by, Pelletier made you believe there were new ways the game could be played. I did it with success, excellence, and most importantly, excitement that's entirely contagious. Because the moment the final whistle was blown and she waltzed off the pitch, player of the match, taking a Tier 2 nation to a World Cup final. She didn't reflect on any of the usual boys dug deep cliches. She took a moment to beam, look at the world, and tell us how much fun she had. Oh, rugby. It's fun to play rugby. This has been the year of Sasha. Going into 2025, Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu was a wunderkind, the talent, the next big thing. And over the course of the last 12 months, that word next has fallen away. Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu was, throughout magic moment after magic moment, the incredibly handsome face of rugby in 2025. Let's put it in simple terms, right? Feinberg Mngomezulu is the most all-court talented player to arrive on the scene since Antoine Dupont, and this was the year he transformed that raw ability into points and purpose on the field, in which he really made it show. It began with some sensational form for the Stormers. Game on game, more and more mad moments like this as he made the sort of thing that you attempt while pissing about before training look effortless, excellent, and essential. Like the only decision possible in the moment to unlock the space. Like it's obvious and easy. And then the Springbok season rolled around and he slid into Imperial mode. The Boks won every test Sasha started this year, already making for a very good year before he really hit his groove. Against Argentina, Feinberg Mngomezulu produced maybe the standalone performance of the year. This was Oscar shit as he scored a hat-trick and orchestrated an attack that blew the Pumas. Had a really good year. This is a good Pumas team away, including scoring one of the most absurd tries I've ever seen, regathering his own cross kick on the way to scoring a Springbok record 37 points in one sole game. On his own. Not for the team. 37 points against Argentina, the 6th ranked team in the world. Who does that? Him, evidently. In fact, the 8 games he's played since that match, Feinberg Mngomezulu has scored an incredible 12 tries, including touchdowns in every single game of the 2025-26 season so far. 3 in 2 URC outings and a full house, tries in all 4 Autumn Nations tests for the Springboks, picking up 2 against both Wales and Japan as well. He's already scored more tries whilst wearing the Springbok number 10 jersey than anyone else in history, an achievement you do admittedly have to word very carefully so as to not disrespect Percy Montgomery, the World Cup winner who ever played for the Dragons, which is honestly an even more impressive achievement. 2025 has been the year of Sasha, but it's also felt like just the first 12 months of a much longer reign to come. Honourable mentions. It's been a really strong year for halfbacks. If it was an all-male team, the number 9 probably would have been Maxime Lucu, with total control and weird, angry, calm energy, guiding Bordeaux and France to titles it felt like they could have lost without his influence, though Antoine Dupont, also excellent during the games he played either end of this year. Zimbabwe's Hilton Mudariki was perhaps the most critical figure in their World Cup qualifications as an all-court scrum half. Cobus Reinach had the best year of his career, a brilliant bit part Bok, finally making the 9 shirt his own. Something also true of Italy's Stephen Varney, though not the Bok shirt, who after a few years of looking promising finally felt like the real deal. Martin Pazarello, also worth mentioning for some fantastic management during the Six Nations especially. Nadine Ruiz became the heartbeat of the women's Boks in both halfback positions and beyond. Youngster Alia Batonci made a name for herself as someone we'll be watching for a decade to come, and likewise Simon Benitez Cruz was a massive breakthrough player for Argentina. Spain's Tanibai continues to be the guy who keeps one of the most exciting teams in Test rugby ticking over week on week, as does Mo Hunt, who led Gloucester to a title and England to a World Cup and Six Nations, so kind of no notes. Lucy Packer also very good for England. Maya Joseph and Rusi Pori Lane shared the Blackfern shirt and did a brilliant job on both parts, while their male counterpart, Cam Roygard, was right up there in terms of selection, maybe second to Luku in an all-male team. There's plenty of contenders though. Anna Maria Afui of Samoa was such a standout in a struggling team, something 10 times also true of Thomas Williams, who numerous times managed to make both Wales and Gloucester look like functional rugby teams. Ben White, brilliant for Scotland. Jamie Doby, brilliant for Glasgow and Scotland. Alex Mitchell remains excellent. Spaniard Ana Fernandez de Corres is a brilliant player who was fantastic at the World Cup. Jake Gordon overcame a shoddy first test to excel against the Lions and beyond, the game of his life in Test 2. And finally, 2 evergreens always close to selection. Jameson Gibson Park set a tempo like no other, doing it for Leinster and the Lions, and also Ireland. Pauline Bourdon-Sansus then was also a standout once again for France, so capable of doing things nobody else would even dream of with a flick of her wrist. Fly-offs, and whichever of Crowley or Prendergast you think deserves an honourable mention, please include that. Rouet Demand of the Black Ferns were probably the standout 10 of the women's game this year, but if it was an all-women's team, the shirt probably would have more likely gone to Spain's Amalia Agurdo. Few did more to open up defences whilst often on the back foot than the free-thinking Toulouse Maverick, who was so just, couldn't take her eyes off her for Spain this year. Though Fiji's Caleb Muntz deserves a nod for doing exactly that in the men's game, as does Damien McKenna McKenzie, who proved a game changer off the bench time and time again. England's duo of trios were brilliant in every single game for the men and women. Zoe Harrison, Helena Rowland, and Ollie Aitchison, and George Ford, Marcus Smith, and Finn Smith. An incredible embarrassment of riches over two teams, talented players all excelling in an international jersey this year. Dana O'Brien was sublime for Ireland, whilst Helen Nelson put in some outstanding performances for Scotland. Libby Janssen van Rensburg, brilliant for the Box. Thomas Albanos continues to grow into a world-class 10, and every time he was deployed to 10, Santiago Carreras, who will also come up another list, looks brilliant in the 10 shirt. Roman Untermack remains his very classy self. Paolo Garbisi put in some really mature performances for Italy, really coming of age there. Matthew Jalabert was probably the most fly half of the year in 2025. His extraness producing its best results yet. A Champions Cup, almost a top 14, and some good games for France. Belgian Matthias Remu has a touch of magic that helped his team to arguably the best year in his nation's rugby history, and my boy Dan Edwards took to Test rugby like a duck to water, providing the piece Ospreys and Wales have been missing for the last few years. But a few stand even ahead of that mighty pack. If somebody says to you, Bowden Barrett was bad for the All Blacks this year, laugh at them. Laugh at them, then walk out of the room, because his steady transformation to a kicking 10 may not be for everybody, but it can win games on its own at international level, whilst Finn Russell was himself, and that's the highest compliment you can give him. Critical for both Bath and the Lions in their successful years, and Taylor Perry may have flown under the radar for the majority, but is such a brilliant cog, keeping Canada's attack flowing and opening up space so well.
Thank you for watching that. This is the start of Team of the Year. There's going to be one of these every day. We're going to go back and forward between the backs and the forwards. So we've got the front row coming tomorrow, the day after the centres, then the day after the second rows, then the day after the back three, then the day after the back row.
Yeah, a lot of rugby players played really well this year. Some of them we will have inevitably forgotten in the honourable mentions as
Grant
well.
Williams. Yeah. Sorry, Grant Williams, if you're watching.
Mate, you played well enough.
Yeah, you played well. Thank you for watching that. The Moment of the Year is up on YouTube right now, and definitely not still being edited as we record this.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's a big one that is up for you to have a look at right now. We did a big deep dive into who's going to win the World Cup. We're going to do plenty into the new year. So I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and you have a wonderful new year.
Because we will be thinking more videos for 2026 already. That video starts tomorrow, our prep for that. Or whatever day it is.
Oh, for Moment of the Year next year?
Yeah, 1st of January.
Do you know what it's going to be about?
What?
Rugby.
It is Justine Peltier.